Good afternoon. Afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Excuse me, making sure I'm coming through okay. Who have we got here? Rohan, how you doing? Ahmed. Nick, how you doing, pal? Sean, Paul, good to see you all back. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Hope you all well and trading safe, as that is always the name of the game. So for me, markets, I've just started my new $200,000 account. I've kind of put everything that's happened in the month of June out of my mind and said, right, starting again, and just starting afresh. So let's see what happens. Hopefully this one goes a bit better than the last, and we'll have to wait and see, shall we? So markets today. Now I have been talking about, if you watched some of my previous streams or if you've been on the website, I have been talking about this SPX, and although I said I'll go with the momentum, I've always kind of had a little bit of trepidation about it. I've always kind of thought it needs some sort of corrective. I think probably the best place to start with this is the daily chart. Because if we look at the daily chart, we can just by looking at it, again, use our eyes. It's probably the best indicator you have is your eyes. Just by pushing through this area, it just looks as if it was kind of bending there. There wasn't really massive momentum to the upside, no real buying pressure coming into that market, even with decent consumer confidence coming out of the US today. Yesterday. And I thought maybe that might cause a little bit of impetus, a little bit of bullish pressure, but it kind of hasn't. And we're falling off a little bit here during London. Now, what I expect, and I don't mind this, to be honest, I generally don't mind this. I kind of want a little bit of a retest of these all-time highs. That's what I would prefer. You know, let that 20 catch up and then give us something. Give us a catalyst that says, right, this market wants to move to the upside. So that is my bias. I was kind of looking at in the 4 hour and saying, well, if we get a decent 4 hour bar to the upside, that would kind of change this little bit of it's not a very nice trend, you have to say, from this point. So it would kind of change my bias a little bit on it. But we haven't got that. And now we're getting a slight fall. I think, personally, we do come back here and let's wait to see what the market wants to do at this particular area. We could go deeper. We could, if we put a simple Fibonacci on it, from the top, I like to use from the bottom of the move to the top. Other people like to take out from the breakout zones. Personally, I like it to take it from the very start of the move to the end. You know, we could even get a pullback to this 40-60 box, potentially. And I wouldn't mind that. You know, I wouldn't mind if we do get a deeper corrective, potentially then moving to the upside. As I said, one of my favorite contexts with the SPX is impulse, loss of momentum, hard reset. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. Whether that does, we'll have to wait and see. If it does have a decent drop down, then possibly it could. I think we wait to see the reaction at this area. And then if we do kind of get a drop through, we wait to see roughly around this area again, that 40-60 box. But, you know, I think we come down. And I just think it needs a little bit of a reset. And I hope it does, because once we've had that before, and I'll show you this for the kind of new people coming in. If we come back, let me zoom out a little bit. So once similar to here, right? It's kind of similar to here, where we've had our slight loss of momentum, right? Decent impulse, hard reset. And then look what's happened after that. And that's happened multiple times in the past. I can show you a few examples if I continue to drill back. So for me, I hope that happens. I think it does now after this decent bearish bar here. And hopefully after that, we get some decent bullish momentum and decent fluidity, because that's what we want as traders. So let me just re-plug in my thing here 1 second. So how's everybody else's trading going? Are you winning trades? Are you doing okay? Let me know how you guys are doing, because remember, these are just my opinions. This is just my thoughts, and you can take them or leave them. That's completely up to you. Dollar. The dollar is same thing. waiting for possibly we're getting B wave here. So we've got our A wave, B wave possibly coming down to retest this area. To continue to the upside, my bias is still for dollar longs, dollar continuation to the upside. This just needs to be digested. You know, we need that 20 to catch up. For me, that's not ready for a push. You know, so I would just be wary of buying the dollar right now. I would just, I would just wait a little bit. I think in terms of trend continuation, if you want the dollar to continue strength, or if you're buying the dollar, this is where you want to buy the dollar, roughly around that 20 period for continuation to the upside. I think that's the best kind of timing for it. If it does decide to push through all-time highs, I would just be wary of it, because, you know, it just doesn't look healthy, does it? It doesn't look as healthy as it would coming back for a harder reset. It could give us an AB shallow C. So instead of a normal ABC, it could give us an AB shallow C before it moves on. That is still okay. But again, I would just be wary of any dollar strength, because it could be sold into. Now, in saying that, on the 4-hour chart, if we do get something like this, so correction over time rather than through price, I wouldn't mind that. It still has some time to set up, but you know, it has to show us, you know, kind of what it wants. We're getting a slight, if I show you this, getting a slight cup with handle here at B wave. So if we take this as an ABC, right, we're getting a slight cut with handle here. Now, this is not a bad bullish sign. So this is where the markets are kind of indifferent, I feel, right now. But, you know, lower time frames, you could get some strength. But really, looking at that daily chart, I think that strength in the dollar may be sold into at some point in time. Again, I could be wrong. I just don't think it's digested enough on the daily, to be honest with you. Okay, my watch list today, quite a few on it. I'm in a euro pound trade. So I put in a euro pound trade this morning on account of what was a really nice setup. So this was, you know, this is nice. I had a big V reversal followed by an additional V reversal. We had our fake out yesterday. And then we came back and had our corrective. So if I zoom in on this, it's probably easier for you to see. Excuse me. One out. There we go. Okay, that's probably easier for you to see. So we had big V reversal followed by second V reversal, fake out, fine, no problem, corrective, and I took the break on this 4-hour bar. It was looking quite good and kind of sold off a little bit. Now, the trade's in, I can't do anything about it. You know, we're not, my stop's all the way down here, so still got a little bit of room for that to move. I did want a close here on this 4-hour. Now, we didn't get that. CPI data came out of the euro, which was okay, to be honest. Not too bad. At expectations, I think that's okay. What I would like now is, again, we've got some resistance and dynamic resistance to price with this descending trend line, with this 200, with this resistance area. But if we can get a closure, and again, I'm not going to look at this until 5 o'clock because it's a 4-hour chart trade. You've got that 20 still coming up. We're obviously still in it. And if we can get a decent bullish close, I think this goes to the upside. I don't really buy this sell-off or this kind of shorter term sell-off in the euro, to be honest with you. I think I still like that trade. Whether I'm offside a little bit, this context is A star for me. I know some people might say, oh, why didn't you take the breakout above this? For me, these orders were filled. You know, the more volume came in on this kind of fake out. It's had its fake out. It's, you know, taken probably stops out. So I was okay with this kind of area taking that breakout, to be honest with you. And we'll see what happens on euro pound. I don't mind that trade still, even though I'm a little bit offside. That's okay. Euro Swiss as well is a trade that I'm not in yet, but I'm very close to being triggered into on account of this head and shoulders pattern on the 4-hour. I did have this trade in yesterday, but you know, we didn't get triggered in yesterday. However, it's kind of reset up even nicer than what it was yesterday. Nice corrective, and now we're pushing through. Not been triggered in. Stops all the way down here underneath that 200 period, and that's nice. You know, I like that again. The context is good. We had a push on in the euro. We've had our what's called a rising 3 pattern. So you can see here, for anybody that's new, we had a bullish bar followed by 3 bars in between another outside bullish bar. So that's what's known as a rising 3. They call that an igniting pattern, so it's supposed to ignite a move. So the context of that is good. We've had a bar in between here digesting. Looks to be, at the moment, some bullish pressure coming in. Swiss. I'm also waiting for USD Swiss. Okay, I'll check that in a second, Rohan. But for me, this is nice. You know, again, I like it. I like the fact that we're stalling here as well on the 1 hour. If we can have something like this, that would be ideal. But yeah, another trade that I do kind of like. Euro Swiss to the upside. USD Swiss. Okay, let's have a look at USD Swiss before I move on. USD Swiss. I presume you're looking to the upside, Rohan, right? Again, this is very similar to the dollar index, the USD Swiss. You know, I'm just wary about this daily chart, right? I would just want a little bit more, unless you're looking at the 4 hour. Yeah, if you're looking at the 4 hour, okay, you're kind of getting a slight context here, right? There's no doubt about that. I just worry about this. You know, I just worry about this. You know, again, if you put a Fibonacci onto it, Fibonacci from the bottom here, it's tagged at 38.2, which is good. That's fine. But again, it just, for me, I'm not saying I'm going to be right here, or for just from my perspective, I kind of wanted a little bit more here because of this massive impulse to the upside. That doesn't mean it can't go on. The trend is to the upside. You're going with the trend. That is fine. But for a trade for me, I would just wary about, you know, buying it here, basically. That's what I would be wary of. You know, if it came down a little bit more and you were buying it here, that would make more sense to me personally. But if the dollar wants to rise, you know, if the Swiss is weak, if I bring this up, again, this is just this is a currency strength meter. The Swiss is the weakest on the basket right now, so selling the Swiss makes sense. I'll drop this link in the chat, by the way, if you don't know what that is. This is the FinViz. If you want to have a look at it, just shows you the strength of each individual currency at that current point in time. You can change it to the weekly. Oop. Adverts. So this is the weekly, so we can see these commodity currencies have been relatively weak compared to those kind of risk-on currency, risk-off currencies, the yen, etc. So it shows you that kind of risk-off mentality, or that uncertainty that we've had in the markets recently. But that's quite a good tool. I don't use it all the time. I use it probably just to you know, help people that's watching see what's weak and what's strong. What's your opinion about Euro CPI? I like that it came in at expectations, to be honest, Sean. You know, I think with the inflation worries, the ECB statement kind of calmed that a little bit. But I think coming in at expectations was okay. I don't think Euro buyers would mind that, to be honest with you. You didn't really want it to come in really, you know, and beat expectations. You don't want those inflation worries back into the market, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't mind that Euro CPI number, to be honest. I think in terms of news as well, there's non-farm employment change at 4:15 UAE time. There's CAD GDP later. So there's home sales. Home sales is quite a big number, and some oil news later on. So news heavy is getting possibly some fundamental drivers for the rest of the week. But I think we probably wait for NFP on Friday. I think that will be a big number, considering where we are in the index. And if we can, so NFP comes out, obviously non-farm payrolls, the amount of jobs added to the US economy, right, for the previous month. if we can get a nice corrective before that Friday number, and that Friday number comes in good and the market likes it, I think that would be good for the market, personally. I think if we can get a little corrective here until Friday, NFP comes out, people like NFP, that could be the catalyst we finally get, and I know I probably said that a few times, but that could be the catalyst we finally get for upward movement and fluid upward movement in the stocks. So, yeah, some news out today, but I think the market will shrug off some of it until those NFP numbers and employment rate, etc. on Friday, to be honest. But Euro API, I don't mind. Okay, CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss. And again, if you want me to look at any pairs, just put them in the chat. I'll take a look. Now, CAD Swiss is a trade that I do really like still. This is a really nice setup for me. USD CAD broke on 1 hour. Okay, I'll have a check after this. Bigger ABC. I did think we were getting our ABC on this engulfer, but you know, we had this big drop. That's okay. We're getting this larger ABC. This was at the 50% fib. I do usually like the 50% fib to be touched from this move. So what I need now on this CAD Swiss is again movement up to either B wave or these highs here. And a setup. I can take setups at B wave. So I can take breaks of B wave on this ABC. I actually prefer doing that. I like breaks of B wave, but it needs now to set up a little bit more. And with that drop, so with this bearish bar, it might take a little bit longer to set up than it obviously if it pushed through here. So if I can get a, you know, V reversal, reload, let that 20 come down, possibly accumulation here at B wave, I'll take that CAD Swiss to the upside. If we don't get that at B wave, I can look for it up here, potential setup up here to go long. And if we don't get that, then I can also look at a breakout and retest for CAD Swiss as well. So CAD Swiss, I like this trade. You know I want to be in this trade, right? You look at the daily, quite a large ABC here. Again, you can also look at this as a breakout on the daily chart. Cup with handle corrective, push through. So there's lots of avenues for me to get into this trade. But again, I need it to set up. I can't just buy it because I'm so confident this is going to go up. That's not how trading works. You've got to stick to that strategy. But if this does set up, this is really nice. You know, I really like that CAD Swiss to the upside. It just may take a little bit of time to set up, but that's okay. That's okay. Euro Swiss I talked about. Euro Swiss almost getting triggered in. USD Czech. Now I like USD. I like some of these. What's the name? The exotics. Sorry, I like some of these exotics. Now this USD Czech. Sorry, is setting up pretty nicely on this daily chart. So we're getting our basing. It is counter trend, but we're getting our basing cup with handle. The problem we have here is this 200 on the daily. So what I would need, and if we do get that little bit of weakness in the US dollar, maybe we need to get another reload here. Let that 200 kind of come down so your breakouts above that 200. So I can't take a breakout if this 200 is in the way of 1-to-1 risk reward. Okay, so I always place my TP1 at 1-to-1, and if this 200 is in the way, or you know, a 20 period, something like that, any kind of moving average, I can't take it. But if we get a reload, right, if that US dollar weakness does come in before US dollar strength, this could be a really nice trade to the upside from you know, this counter trend move. So USD Czech I kind of like, don't mind that at all. USD CAD. Okay, let's have a look at USD CAD. Is anyone in a trade, by the way? Is anybody watching actually in a trade? USD CAD. So we're breaking this area. It's probably easier to look at on the 4-hour chart. Yeah, I mean, for me, Rohan, again, I'll say the same thing. This is not a trade that I would want to be involved in. I'm not saying it's not going to go long. If it fits your strategy, then fine, no problem. Yeah, Ahmed, you've had a great month, right? You've had a good week. Good. I'm happy for you, mate. Well done. You've had a great week. Well done. But again, this is just not a trade that I would really want to be involved in, to be honest. It doesn't, buying this doesn't resonate with me. That doesn't mean to say that it's not going to go long. That doesn't mean to say it's going to go short. But for me and how I look at the markets, I wouldn't be buying it. I get it because, you know, you've broken out this level. I get that. You know, CAD's been strong. We've broken out this area. Quite a nice little reload here. A reload before the break, which is personally what I do like to see. I do like to see that. I never recommend, if you're breaking out, to take a break like this. You know, taking a breaks like this is ideal for me. You know, that's why if we go back to Euro Pound, again, we go back to Euro Pound. That's why I couldn't take the breakout yesterday on account of here. But because we've had that additional reload, makes me okay taking that break. Again, it's just making sure we're getting in at the right times and not getting in on at the wrong times. You know, trying not to sell it down here or buy it, you know, buy it up here, etc. USD ADP employment may boost NFP on Friday. Yeah, maybe Sean. Maybe Sean. I do think this NFP is quite big. It's actually, the NFPs have been, probably a year ago they were kind of non-events, but I think they're getting to the stage where they're quite, well, they've always been important, but certainly more market moving than they were last year. But I think, what's the number? Let's check what the number they think is on Friday. Friday, July, where are we? 690K. So last month was 559. You know, when I was talking about it last month, I wanted that kind of low number. I think the best thing for the market is in or around expectations. I don't think the miss in terms of last month with the inflation fears. I kind of wanted a slight miss or in or around expectations. I don't want that this month. I think if we get a number around expectations, hopefully slightly beating expectations with obviously good unemployment rate, I think that's, well, I mean, kind of obviously good for the markets this month. And I hope that we correct until then. That's my personal hope, because what I want is a kind of certain market. And you can see from, you know, the FinViz, right, just taking this in the weekly chart, this is not an uncertain market, right? Because people flock to these safe haven assets, you know, certainly the yen and, you know, post-COVID, the US dollar, when things are uncertain. And that's not what we want. We want fluidity. And I certainly want fluidity to make money. So let's see. Anyway, that's it from me. Anybody else want me to look at anything before I go? As I said, I'm in that Euro Pound. I'm in that Euro Swiss. Not in that Euro Swiss. I'm almost in that Euro Swiss. But I think that's my trades for potentially the week ahead. And I'm happy, you know, if I get 2-3 trades per week, you know, 1 or 2 probably on average, then that's okay by me. Yeah. All right, everyone, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I'll be back on Friday. We'll talk a little bit more about NFP. Hopefully I'll have one or 2 trades. That would be lovely. But let's see. Thanks, guys. Again, appreciate it. Thanks for coming. I'll see you all on Friday. Trade safe. Peace.